This episode of Young Blackjack marks the end of the Vietnam arc, and it ends really sad in a way because Steve he finally wakes up, but he's what's called disorientated and still thinks that he is in battle. So he runs out into the bushes, and when Pan and Bob runs after him, they manage to convince him that he is no longer in danger, that he can relax. And when he then walks back to them, I could see from long, long away that he would be stepping on a landmine, and he does, and he dies from this, and this causes Bob to go down a spiral, basically, which end up with him basically ordering an airstrike onto the village, which they haven't done anything to him. They have actually only shown him kindness. However, he cannot come to terms with Steve being dead. He actually packs what's called Steve's corpse into one of those army packs you most likely have seen, and is gonna carry him home. And yeah, that is after he has ordered the airstrike. However, what caused him to order this airstrike was that the boy that we saw that saved our group last week, he is called An, and he is actually a childhood friend of Pan, and he helped them. And this kind of conflicts with Bob's belief now because he thinks that all Vietcons are enemies. So this forces him, because of the way he now thinks, to consider that Pan also is an enemy, that she is a spy for the Vietcons. And that is kind of sad because I could see that those two they had a connection in this episode. But sadly, Steve's death caused this connection to break, and it doesn't help that Hazama, Yabu, and Dr. Kiriko, the cool doctor. We finally got the name in this week's, or this week, this episode to be more exact, since I'm behind, as you know. Uh, yeah, that doesn't help that they are basically taking him to the operation room and are using the, I think it was O plus blood, which uh, Bob, in his mind, thinks should be used to save Steve because he still thinks that Steve is alive, that he just needs treatment. And he's especially angry on Dr. Kiriko because he is a medic employed by the US military. However, Dr. Kiriko, he chooses his call basically because doctors, they, as I recall, they write on a letter that they will not uh, harbor any ill will towards anyone. They will save whoever they can. And he just chooses to basically honor this call and saves Arn, even when he has been informed that there's coming an airstrike, which is caused because Bob now thinks that they are basically a rebel camp. So yeah, that's pretty sad. However, they manage to save Arn and comes out, however, of course not unscratched because let's say like this, there are, lets me think, Hazama had basically his right eye was a little bit, he got he got an eye patch. You can see some patches on Kiriko and Yabu. I cannot recall. I think he got some scars. And I actually respect Yabu after this week's episode also, or rather, I respect him even more because he decided to stay behind in Vietnam and because he wants to save lives. And he cannot do that in Japan. So he decides to stay there even after seeing how much this has been, basically how much violence there is in Vietnam and how easy a life is lost and how easy it is to basically getting a village bombed. And I feel sorry for those villagers. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to know what happened to them. Did they get any help? Did they, yeah, what happened to them? What happened? And what happened to Pan and Anne? So, yeah. However, I can see with Bob, because he, as I was saying, he was a bit conflicted for a moment there because in his mind all Vietcons was enemies. So when he heard that Anne was helping them, he was a bit conflicted. However, his, shall we say, train of thoughts now won over, and that, yeah, kind of caused him. And I wonder if the person who was shot in the shoulder that Kiriko had to treat at the end, which we didn't see, was him, because I could imagine that being the case. I actually wonder what happened to Bob, even after he was being such a dick to Pan and all the others. But when that is said and done, have a good day, good night, wherever you are, and I'll see you later, guys. For real this time. Cheers.